You're 40 for me. And, this time of year, there's a lot of change in our world and in our country, but the one thing that hadn't changed in 39 years of doing this is the most exciting time of year for a coach, a player, and a fan. And I'm looking forward to this season and making it a great one.
All right, we'll start off on the right here, front row.
Yes.
Coach, you've been working with the tight ends the last couple of days, and replacing a guy like Jalen Weidemeyer, especially in the red zone, is challenging. But what have you seen from young players like Donovan Green and Johnson?
Well, our room is very talented. We're very inexperienced, though, and that's kind of what our team is about. We've got a lot of talent. It's one of the more talented teams I've been around, but we do lack a lot of experience, and I think that's going to be a part of a lot of your bigger programs now with transfer portal and coming out early. We've got guys that have left early when they still had years, and we can't blame them. But you continue to have a young team a lot of times when that happens. But we are extremely talented at the tight end position. Max Wright is a very dependable, steady guy, knows the offense probably as well as anyone. Blake Smith knows the offense extremely well and is a talented guy for us. But the two guys you asked about, Donovan Green and Theo Ostran, those guys are going to be great players. They're going to both have a chance to be drafted in the first round. And another guy that's new here that was here in the spring, Jake Johnson, fits that bill as well. So we've got a very talented room. They've all got a little bit different thing that they are good at, stronger than the other guys in, but they're all very, very gifted players. And they're fun to coach because they're hungry. And those are guys sometimes that are, they're eager to get out there to show what they can do. When they make a mistake or they don't know something, they come running to you and they just, coach me up, coach. And so it's fun. We've got a room full of guys that can do well in this offense. Yeah, we'll miss Jalen, but that's the way football is now. Guys come in, they have good careers, great careers, and they move on, and you've got to go to the next man up philosophy.
Our coach will stay on the front row on the left side.
Coach, you've kind of got the unique position of having coached the quarterbacks, and now you're coaching the tight ends. As a whole, how does this offense look to you from your perspective compared to the last couple of years?
Well, as I said, we've probably got more guys with outstanding talent across the board than we've had. Our offensive line is very physically talented, strong, young, but we do have more depth than we've ever had. We got more guys we think we could put in a game up front than we've had at any time. Same thing with tight end. We're kind of back to Jay Sternberger year where we didn't know much about him. He came in and had an unbelievable year. Then he left after that year, and we went with a freshman, Jalen Weidemeyer, or he emerged through the course of it. We're looking for who's really going to emerge and be the guy, or we would really like to have two or three of them emerge because we like to play with two tight ends in the game a lot of the time. So, again, we're very talented there. We're just inexperienced. The group I'm most excited about is our wide receivers. This is one of the fastest groups of wide receivers, most talented groups of wide receivers I've seen. We do have some experience at the wide receiver position, but we also have some young talent that is going to create a lot of competition at that position. The quarterback race is a very competitive battle. We got some young men that one guy has SEC experience, Max Johnson, but is learning this offense new, and we're very different on offense. So in the spring, they were all kind of – actually, Haynes had a little more, obviously, more experience in this offense, which is, as important as – playing in games. He doesn't have a whole lot of game experience, but he's been on the field in this offense, and he's had the most snaps in this offense. And Connor is just an extremely talented guy, and from what I've seen, he's figuring it out. In the spring, he was just learning the system, still making great plays, and he's doing the same thing now. And I think Coach Craig, who played quarterback in this system, will do a great job bringing those guys along with Coach Fisher. So goes back to running back now. I think everybody knows about Devon Achane and what he brings to us. He's one of the most dynamic players in all of college football. We've got a couple of young guys, Amari Daniels and L.J. Johnson, competing for his backup role. Do not forget about a freshman named Le'Veon Moss. But to sum it up overall, we've got the weapons, we've got the skill, we've got the ability to be an outstanding offense, to be explosive, to be able to grind it out, to be able to do all the things Coach Fisher wants to do from an offensive standpoint. We've just got to figure out who's going to be doing the bulk of it at each position, and I think that competition is going to carry on throughout the season. And, you know, sometimes, having been in this a long time, the younger guys that haven't done it a lot, they're hungrier, and that's what we need. We've got a talented team, and we've got a lot of competition out there, but we need to be hungry. We need to be striving to work for and work for, to gain everything that we possibly can. So it's going to be an exciting year, and we just want it to be a successful year as well.
We'll go second row on the right, and we'll go Tyler and Ben. You'll wrap us up.
Coach, you probably addressed what I was going to ask, but I'll go ahead and ask it anyway. And you can say, hey, I just said that. But I keep hearing about, and from players, that this team's going to be so much more explosive. And, you know, as a coach and been, seen all those guys all over the place, why is this team going to be more explosive?
I simply think it's because of the fact that we have more guys at the skill positions who, even though they don't have a lot of experience, they're dynamic playmakers. And it may be young guys, but we have guys that can run, they can catch the ball, make a guy miss, and go the length of the field at times in the past. And we will be at times during this season. We'll choose to grind it out a little bit. We were probably more of a grind style in the past than this year. You know, we'll pick and choose our times to get the ball to our playmakers in space, and we're expecting and anticipating a lot more big plays because of it. So I think the reason is just the pure dynamic athletic ability that, you know, the guys we have that'll be playing the running back, quarterback, tight end, and wide receiver positions. And I say that with all due respect to some great players that were here. Travion Williams had one of the greatest years in Texas A&M history, our first year here. But again, I think we've got more overall speed, more overall ability at all the skill positions, which hopefully you expect to put them in, you know, positions where they can score a lot of points, make a lot of big plays, and be able to match other teams in those big shootout games.
All right, we'll go third row on the left, and then Ben, you'll wrap us up.
Coach, on this offense, kind of a unique situation with Max and Jake Johnson both on the same team. What's kind of the relationship like there at practice? And I don't know, does that kind of help each other as a quarterback and a tight end?
Well, you know, they're both great kids. They come from a wonderful family. They've been raised correctly. They're competitive. They're talented. Yesterday there was a joke. Max was running a bootleg. He pulled the ball down and ran it. And Jake came flying across and got in the hit one of the defenders that was getting close to tackling Max, and all the tight ends said, "Hey, stay off my brother." And, you know, so there's a little bit of that, but I don't think they're all caught up in, you know, I want to be going with you, and, I want to be in the huddle when you're in the huddle. I think it's more they're both just trying to learn their positions and contribute to the team, but we're glad they're here because they both can play.
All right, we'll go to the back, Ben.
Coach, working with the quarterbacks, and trying to learn this offense for Max and Connor, what are some of the most important things, part of that learning curve for them, understanding the system? And then just as a quick aside, I guess any difference teaching a guy like Max who's been through, obviously, an SEC starter, and then a guy coming in as a true freshman with Connor?
Well, it's a good question. You know, Coach Fisher has developed a lot of great quarterbacks over his years, and it's a demanding position. The guys here that play quarterback have to do what the guys in the NFL do. They have to process. They have to be able to think. They have to be able to check running plays. They have to be able to set protections. They have to be able to attack the field throwing every area. This isn't just a bubble screen or wide receiver screen or throw it deep offense. This is a pro-style offense that also has some of those concepts to go along with it. So they also have to be very ready or willing to prepare. Kellen Mond, who was very successful in this offense, spent hours up here watching film, asking questions, learning it. And then once you supposedly learn it, you've got to continue staying on top of it because there are adjustments that are made weekly and daily and when you understand why the adjustments are being made, you know that your quarterback's getting it. And I still remember the first of the year, our first season here, Kellen during the early parts was just kind of trying to make sure he knew where everybody was at and what he was supposed to do. He wasn't necessarily thinking and seeing things like Coach Fisher does. But we had the ball on the 20-yard line with one play to play or 25-yard line against LSU, and Kellen came to the sideline, and Coach Fisher said what he thought what he was going to run, and he said, I wonder what Kellen sees. And he came to the sideline, and he said the exact same play. And you kind of got a feeling there that he was starting to see it the same way that Coach Fisher does. And it just takes a while, and it takes constant preparation. So those young guys, Max, Connor, and even Haynes, they have got to know the offense as well as Coach Fisher does. And they've got to spend time studying and preparing. And as Coach always says, quarterbacking comes down to two things: decision-making, which they have a decision to make every play, and accuracy. When they're throwing the ball, they got to hit what they're throwing at. And that's pretty good. That philosophy has worked well for Coach for a long, long time.
Appreciate the time, Coach.
You bet.